kindergarten, Miss Kostelec here, and I've been having fun doing some kitchen science this week, and I noticed a really fun one that's called Monster Toothpaste. Now, you may have seen this also called elephant toothpaste, and I thought, I wonder if I could do this. Now, I wanted to do one that was safe for kindergarten, so ours won't be as big as the house, but it's pretty cool what happens. So with Monster Toothpaste, what you need is dish soap. So I have some regular dish soap. You need some hydrogen peroxide. This is the stuff Mom puts on your boo-boos, like when you skin your knee or your elbow. And we also need this cool stuff called yeast. Yeast is what bakers use in their bread to make it rise. And it's totally safe. It's edible. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two different versions. So I'm going to make a big container, and then I'm going to do just like a soda container, and I think that would be really kind of neat for us. But the first thing I need to do is get my yeast started. So for my big container, I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of yeast, so 1, 2, and in my little container, I'm just going to use 1. So then I need some warm water. This is almost like if I was baking at home. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 in my big batch, and just 2 in my little batch. Okay, so that's all the water I need, and I'll just give it a little stir. Now, yeast is kind of a cool thing. It's actually an organism, and it grows with the warm water. The warm water wakes it up, gets it going. So we'll just go ahead and give that a little stir, and that's fine. Okay, so while that's doing its thing, it's getting activated, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some peroxide to each of mine. Now, I have this cool funnel from my kitchen, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on there because I don't want to have to spill everywhere. So in my small batch, I'll just use a 1/2 cup of peroxide. Put that right into my funnel, and that'll go right down in there. Pretty nice. And then in my big batch, I'll double it. So 2 halves make a whole. So we have a whole cup we're going to need. So 1 and 2. So that makes a whole cup in that one. We'll see what happens. I'm curious. I didn't test it on that one. So my peroxide's out of the way. And then I need some dish soap. And I need only 1/4 cup in my small batch. That's one of these. And I'm going to go ahead and dump that right in there. Now when I double a 1/4, that ends up making a 1/2 cup. So that's what I'm going to need in my big batch. So I'm going to do 2 of those. 1 and 2. So this is kind of like a mad scientist lab. So I have those going. And then the thing that makes it really fun, because it is called toothpaste, you want to use some food dye. So as you can see, I have food coloring down here. This is the kind you put in icing. And I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on the sides. So I'm just going to drizzle it. I'll put a couple down the sides of that one. And I'm going to do a down the side of that one. Do the side of that one. Do some blue. And I'll go ahead and do some red, because those seem like toothpaste colors. Let me do a little bit more on that side. Down the sides. You can kind of see I'm making it, the food dye just go down the sides. All right. Put the lid on because I might want to use that later. Now remember my yeast over here? The cool thing about yeast that I found out, I'm learning too, is yeast is called a catalyst. It makes a reaction happen. Now, watch. We're going to do it first with our small batch. So here's my small batch of yeast. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour that one in. I'm going to just dump it in. Ooh, and it just starts bubbling. And it's bubbling. Let me get that out of the way. Ooh, I don't how pretty that is. No wonder they call it toothpaste, because look, it has stripes on it from when I put it down the side. Now, the neat thing about this is actually a chemical reaction. If you felt the bottle, it's warm. That's an exothermic reaction. So heat is being made as the items interact together. And that's pretty cool. It just keeps on going. Now, I'm really curious to see what will happen with my big jar. Maybe nothing. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to mix up my big batch of yeast. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It may not be as exciting as I hoped, but I'm going to just dump them in, see what happens with my catalyst. Well, it is bubbling up and it's going, ooh, it's getting taller and taller and taller. Neat. Oh, but it's like, instead of in a tube like a toothpaste, this one reminds me more of a volcano, how it oozes out the side. Now, what do you think is going on in here? Why did this happen? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a clue. Hydrogen peroxide is kind of cool. It's a compound that has extra oxygen in it. And when it meets up with a catalyst that causes a chemical reaction, all that oxygen has to go somewhere. It's kind of being let go. Some of it's being really used in the chemical reaction. And the soap captures the oxygen, the air, in little bubbles. And that's why it oozes out. And those bubbles just keep on happening. The reaction just keeps on happening until all of the yeast is used up. You can see it's still going over here in the little jar. I think the soda bottle worked the best. So the yeast was our catalyst, and it worked to make a chemical reaction. So fun. I wish this one was as colorful as that one. That's beautiful. Now, when I fill the bottle, I can even squeeze the bottle, it's warm. Now, this one is safe to touch. You can touch it. If you make this with mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, it's safe to touch because I used a safe kind of hydrogen peroxide. Now, when you watch it on YouTube and they have these crazy bubbles and big reactions, they use a type of hydrogen peroxide that's not safe for children to touch. But this one is safe. I wouldn't leave it on my skin too long because it might start irritating, but it's safe to touch. It's warm, but it's not hot like some of the chemicals they use. So I hope you had fun. Bye, boys and girls.